everybody, it's Tyknighter here, and I am doing another convention-based review, this time on Youmacon 2022. Before I get into the convention review, I should probably point out two things, is that one, the game that I am playing is .hack GU Last Record, a very fun game, and two, I am not reading this on a full script. I am just saying this on the top of my head. I do have like a semi-script for like a list of things I'm going to be saying. But other than that, I am just going to, say whatever comes to my head on each and every topic. I have to get this video up before, I work on some of the projects that I want to work on. But other than that, this is my convention review on Youmacon 2022. So before I do start, I should probably mention that I am from Canada, so anytime I go to America, it's usually an experience for me, and I like to get this drink called Fruit Punch Brisk. Now, I did mention this in my Dokidokon video for, I guess anyone that saw that or has seen that, but I'm just going to quickly go over this, but anytime I go, I'll always pick up Fruit Punch Brisk, as it's not sold where I live in Canada, or in Canada in general. They'll sell the lemonade, the iced tea, and that watermelon flavor that I never bothered to try, but they'll never sell the Fruit Punch Brisk. They used to, but they don't anymore. So anytime I go to America, I usually get my hands on Fruit Punch Brisk, as many as I can. But other than that, I will be talking about my history with Youmacon now. So I've been going to Youmacon for at least 5 years, since 2018. I've been going there consistently. And the only time I never really exactly went to Youmacon was during, the lockdown, when everything was, closed down and everything. So yeah. But other than that, like I said, I've been going there consistently. And anytime I go, I usually do something, a little new. And this year was basically no exception. I was, cosplaying for the first time. I was cosplaying as M16A1 Boss from Girls Frontline. Not a lot of people knew who I was, but that's kind of expected because, GFL is kind of under the radar in terms of, like, say, the gacha game crowd, like, let's say, Arknights or Azur Lane. But for the most part, that's fine. A few people did know who I was, and there was this one interesting story that I do want to talk about the person who found out who I was. Slight spoilers for GFL, though, by the way. Probably point that out. I'll have a little time, square stamp thing to where to go if you're curious and you don't want to, or I should say that you don't want to get spoiled. I don't know why I say you're curious, because you're never curious on spoilers. But besides from that, here we go. So the guy who found out who I was asked if I was M16A1 Boss, and I said yes. And he said, "That's cool. Like, I want to show you, like, to my girlfriend, but like, he couldn't because his girlfriend was not at the part where M16 turned SF, so, and M16 was her favorite character. So, that, was, the thing. And he'd never seen a GFL cosplayer at a convention like that, so it was kind of, interesting for him, interesting for me that someone was able to, like, finally recognize me. There were a few people who did know who I was, but for the most part, I was kind of just, not really knowing, but that's fine. When the people do find out about your obscure character, it's always a good feeling. And I cosplayed as M16 because, she was my favorite character. But other than that, I will be talking about the hotel that I was staying at. So I should probably give a little, tidbit on, like, the two hotels, or the two main ones that are at the Youmacon convention. So there are, like I said, there are two hotels. There is one that is right across from the convention. So when you're at that hotel, you've struck gold. You can just walk there and walk back. It's amazing when you're at that hotel. But there was one other hotel that I did stay at, and that was at the Ren Center. And it's like a 3 minute, like, walk to there and the convention. So maybe like 5 minutes, but I think it was like 3 minutes, but not even, maybe two. But for the most part, yeah, that's kind of just, how the whole thing, was going on. In terms of, let's say, the hotel, there were a few things that kind of just struck me as, like, odd. First things first was the internet. Like, you had like three options to get the internet there. You could either sign up on their, their website thing, which, I didn't want to do because I just didn't know how to do it effectively, and yeah, so I didn't have access to the internet, obviously. Two, you could pay $12 a day, so the internet costed money at the rent center, which honestly sucked, but oh well. And I didn't want to do that either because I just didn't want to pay for internet. And two or three, I guess, you could technically go down to the lobby and use their free guest Wi-Fi there. But after a long day of just being at the convention, that was obviously something I just didn't want to do either. So basically, I had no internet for the entirety of the convention. I couldn't do anything else except go on my phone. But that was that. So I guess I'm gonna talk about the story of Sunday. This generally happened when everyone else was like packing up. I was leaving on Monday, so I wasn't like leaving. So, but the people that were, they kind of had to go through a bit of a hassle of going up and down constantly or whatnot, and just going through the elevator, maybe not up and down constantly, but like for you to get a spot on the elevator, was just absolutely crazy. Basically, you had to, either wait a bit or go up. And if you went down, you were lucky. But for the most part, you were going, up. So I eventually did get a spot. But the thing is I was on the 48th floor of the hotel, and I was cosplaying for all 3 days. Now the thing with my M16A1 cosplay is that there is a lot to wear and a lot to take off. So obviously, if I move around a bunch, I'm gonna start sweating. And let's be real here, I'm not walking down 48 flights of stairs, sweating in a cosplay. That just isn't something I want to do. But I eventually did get a spot. I got up first, and then I went down. Now there is one thing I do want to mention, is that there are two elevators that you can use at the rent center. There's the one that goes up to floor 40, and then there's the one that goes to floor 40 and above. Now, at floor 40 is the gym area, so, there's that. Everything else was rooms. So I obviously was on the elevator above, the floor 40, so I wasn't, constantly seeing the doors open and close, but that was basically, what happened in that. There was this one person who had an open elevator but didn't allow anyone in because, they were in a hurry. So that kind of sucked. But, yeah. But, oh well, what can you do? I mean, honestly, I should have just, went on, but it's whatever. It's the time's, like, past now. So now I'm going to be talking about some of the cosplayers that I actually saw at Youmacon that I actually kind of liked. But, one thing I should note is that there will be no photos. I am not doing that. So if you're expecting photos, I apologize. You're not getting any of those here. But I will be talking about a few that I did find quite interesting. So the first one that I found, this was on Thursday, but I found like these few people who were cosplaying as Jet, Wave, and Storm from Sonic Riders. It's really nice seeing Sonic Riders representation, as I think Sonic Riders needs to be talked about a bit more in the gaming industry, as it's honestly a very interesting and fun game. But I found that rather nice. Another one that I saw, this one was on Saturday, but I found this Testament cosplayer, who was playing a cosplay as Testament from Guilty Gear, like from Guilty Gear Strive specifically. So that was kind of cool. They had like the giant like scythe thing built on them too, so that was quite nice. Other than that, there was this Genshin character. Now this character isn't actually playable, but I know they're in the game's files. I myself don't play Genshin Impact at all, but I do know about them, and generally I do like the designs of Genshin Impact characters. I think this character goes by the name of Columbia or Columbius. I'll put an image on what they are, but for the most part, they were cosplaying as that, and I found that kind of cool. And then there was this one cosplayer that I actually missed, but I wish I did saw them. The two actually, they were together. I found these two people cosplaying as the little sister and big sister from Bioshock 2. So that was really cool. I'm a huge fan of Bioshock, so honestly, when I found out that I missed that, I felt kind of sad, but oh well. Other than that, there were the Chainsaw Man cosplayers. There were a bunch of them. They were quite nice, especially the ones that like went out of the way and had like the actual like blades on them. That was kind of cool. And then there was this one guy who cosplayed as Heisenberg from RE8 or like Resident Evil 8, and I like that. But yeah, for the most part, that was basically the cosplayers. There's like a bunch I could mention, but like I'll be here like all like day. I can go on this for hours. But yeah, that was basically the cosplayers that I found interesting. So now I'm going to be talking about the games. So Youmacon has a very big game room full of games that you can just go and play, and all of them are like fun, depending on like what your tastes are. They have an arcade cabinet known as F-Zero AX. Now, I do need to give a little bit of context on what this thing is. F-Zero AX is actually a tie-in between another game called F-Zero GX. Now, I do own F-Zero GX, and it's probably like one of the rarest GameCube games I do own. But F-Zero AX is honestly more harder to find, as there's only so little or a select few of these arcade cabinets in existence. So what ended up happening was, and I have to go a little bit of context for this too, when Nintendo was working with Sega of all companies to make the arcade cabinet, they found out that there wasn't going to be like a whole lot of them out there, and apparently there's only like 12 in America. There are said to be more, but the others are missing in action. So there's that. I believe there's like a number like 12 like that. So if someone can correct me if I'm wrong, then go right ahead. But I know Youmacon has like one, but they had like a second one this year, so I guess they have two now. But yeah. Other than that, they had Crazy Taxi, which was like I think a new addition. I never saw Crazy Taxi, uh, back then, so there was that. But they also had another arcade game that was the Fate Stay Night fighting game. That was kind of cool. They had that, so I never got a chance to play it, but they had that. Then they had Metal Slug 3, I played that for a bit on Sunday. It's hard, but I did have a lot of fun playing Metal Slug. So that was, kind of cool. But the one game they had, and this is honestly to me what makes Youmacon special in my eyes, is they actually have an arcade cabinet of Akatsuki Blitzkampf Eins Perfecti, or Eins Perfecti, more like it. And this one is just rare all around. It's a fighting game that's like Dojin based, but it's very niche, but it's popular in the underground scene of like fighters. Tournaments still take place for this game to this day, but honestly, whenever I go to Youmacon, I always make sure to play a little bit of this game. I love Akatsuki Blitzkampf. I should probably make a video on it entirely. But yeah, they had that. That was kind of cool. But yeah, it was overall fun, and I almost forgot this game entirely as well. But there was another game they had there, which was a mobile game called Grimlight. I tried this a bit at the game area, and this is a mobile game, but it's actually quite fun. It's a bit of a different twist on fairy tale characters, and you go through this like turn-based esque battle-like system. It's kind of hard to describe. I may make a video on this, but yeah, overall, Grimlight is quite fun. I did enjoy it. They even have a Discord server that I'm actually part of, and the community is quite welcoming. So if you ever do get a chance to go play Grimlight, which is free by the way, um, yeah, the Discord's quite welcoming. And by the way, this is not an advertisement. I'm just saying what I was going to say on the top of my head, so I apologize. But yeah. So next we're going to go on the rave. Now the rave was overall fun. I like going to raves, and obviously Youmacons is no exception. The rave started a bit late though. It started at like 11:30 instead of like 10, but it went on to like 4 a.m. But I never stayed for the full like rave, but I did enjoy it for the large part of it. Then there's also this like mini esque rave that goes on outside, so like there's like two raves in a way. But overall, that's kind of cool. Um, Other than that, the last thing I could mention is the. Oh wait, before I actually do go on this, there was a little something that I guess I kind of neglected to mention at first. Now that I mentioned about the rave and the game area, is that the rave and game area closed or no, okay, no. The game area closed a bit earlier than usual. Usually it stays on until about uh 2, sometimes 3 a.m., 4 a.m. on Saturday, but it closed early on Friday and Saturday. And there was no rave on Friday. But oh well, what can I do? It was odd, but like I said, Oh well. Other than that, I did enjoy the events that were taking place at the convention. But other than that, there was the comedy show at the end. This is actually the very first Youmacon that I actually was able to stay for the full length. Usually I go home, a bit early before it's over. But yeah, this time I was actually staying until the event was over. And the comedy show was actually quite well done. It was funny, uh, but yeah, it was really really nice. But other than that, yeah, that's basically it for the my Youmacon 2022 review. But before I do end this video off, I do have two announcements I'd like to make. So I did this back in my Dokidokon video, and I'm doing this here. But I'll be making a video on the worst anime that people told me about at Youmacon 2022. So yeah, I'll be making a video all on that because I was going around asking people for the worst anime they can tell me, and I literally got a bunch of results. That video is gonna take some time though, as I literally got 4 pages of anime that I got to go through, and I have to divide everything in different sections and tally up the votes for each. But yeah, so there's that. Other than that, I will be working on a video on Twinkle Nor Rockman, which is apparently one of the worst anime of all time. I will be talking about that, its history, and other stuff that I can find. But yeah, so that's basically something that I'm doing for the most part. I don't know when that video is going to come out though, because I want to work on a little something too. But we'll see. Maybe I'll work on both at the same time, and whenever I can, I'll just upload them. So if you guys are interested in that, then yeah, maybe stick around, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Hope you guys have a nice night, day whenever you watch this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.